Assassin's Promise by Thomas Woodward. Chapter 66. Dolaran fingered a thick knife, smiling in the near darkness. He had been a mercenary for a few years before he turned to banditry, although he claimed the pay wasn't much better. He had killed another man in his unit, and had been hunted for the better part of a month on the far end of the desert. What Dolaran had missed most had been the gambling. No one wanted to gamble in this stinking crew. What was wrong with the drags? They needed to live a little. Dolaran had taken out his knife over a friendly game early on, and no one had wanted to play with him after that. Dolaran staggered to his feet, flask swinging back and forth madly on its tether. "We gotta kill that woman, Neb. You saw what she did. Damn sight pretty, too. I wouldn't mind having a toss with her. But she has to die." Dolaran smeared the drink that had trailed onto his shirt with a grimy hand. Strong arms and powerful muscles corded thickly under his shirt. He had kept from getting a gut due to the rough living they had been forced upon in the last stretch of years. "I don't like getting tangled with Kellen," Henneb said. "You know if he catches wind of things at the wrong time, he can just as easily put an arrow in our throats. I hate it. But while he's alert, we'll need to avoid him or draw him away somehow. You remember the last time we had to get him to help us overthrow Ranel? We can't count on his silence." Henneb made a slitting motion with his hand over his throat. "Maybe we can talk Vasson into leaving with us. She would make a nice traveling companion." He gave his cousin a wink and broke into a grin. "We'll do what I say, and that's that," Dolaran snarled. "I never set you wrong in the past, have I? Get over to see what that damn cow-kisser Kellen is about. You get him to move off, and I'll do the rest." With a thick motion, he pulled his sausage-like finger over Henneb's throat. His dark eyes held Henneb's for another moment. "And get me another drink, damn you!" Dolaran watched the other man slink out of the tent, his eyes hard on his back. He would find a way to turn this recent turn of events to his advantage. He would just have to move up his plan of leaving the crew a bit earlier than either he or Henneb expected. He was glad Ranel was gone. Good riddance. The filthy bastard had always looked down on them. Dolaran would have paid a pretty coin to have been able to watch him die. They had been kept at the rear of the column because Ranel hadn't trusted them not to botch the whole job by alerting the caravan's scouts. His one regret was that he never got a chance to twist the blade in Ranel's belly. He wished Kellen had been slain with the rest of them too. Pity that he had survived. Kellen was a self-righteous sort. He always got in the way. Dolaran hated the type. If he had his way, he would lay Kellen clean under, along with the rest of his family on their way out of camp. But Henneb was right about one thing. The man was dangerous with a bow. They would need to slit his throat while he slept to get at those women. Maybe Dolaran could turn the rest of the camp against the man. Kellen had always been an outsider, the kind that felt he was too good to piss in the same place as the others. Maybe he could use that. Dolaran hated the others just as much as Henneb, but he wasn't above using them to help his own ends. Vasson had a temper like glowing coals at midnight. Her man had died today under that forsaken wagon. If he could somehow lay the blame at Kellen's feet. A dark plan started to form in Dolaran's drink-addled mind. They had to be away from here, and quickly, but perhaps they could spare a day. He would play on the other crew members' desire for exacting vengeance against the wagon survivors. If he could turn them into a bloodthirsty mob, he and Henneb could steal away in the confusion. He delighted at the prospect of the women being torn to bloody shreds by the others. Dolaran still held a grudge over Strangham's death. He had seen the bloody woman snap the man's neck. Even if Strangham was a royal bastard, he would do this thing. He understood vengeance well. They would all pay a price in blood. Finishing the thought, Dolaran downed the last of his flask in a long swallow, then tossed it to the floor among the rest of his haphazard possessions. Where was that stinking cousin of his? Did the man think there were no consequences to not obeying him? Kicking the side of the tent, he muttered darkly as he stepped into the cold night air.